Guys, there are only 20 episodes left until season 5 of Setup Wars, which means it's time for another contest. The person who creates the best intro for Setup Wars Season 5 will not only get $250, but their website or portfolio will be linked in the description section of every single Setup Wars video, hopefully driving traffic to your website or business. So if you're a talented video editor and or graphic designer and you want to be part of the contest, then make sure to click the link in the description section down below for all the details. I'm not gonna lie guys, it's gonna be pretty tough to beat the current intro, so you're gonna need all the luck you can get. What's happening guys, I'm TechSource, welcome to Setup Wars episode 231 Ultimate Edition. That's right, we're gonna be taking a look at some more crazy jaw-dropping setups that your eyeballs have ever seen. And if you guys think you have a setup that belongs on the show, consider participating. There's a link down below that will show you exactly what you need to do to get on the show. Anyways, with that said, sit back, relax, because it's time for Setup Wars. Let's face it, lots of gaming headsets out there come with crappy microphones. And what if you want to use your favorite headphones, but it doesn't come equipped with a microphone? Well, that's where Antline Mod Mics comes in, who's also kind enough to sponsor today's video. They offer these awesome, great sounding detachable boom arms that you can hook up to virtually any surface. I have these currently hooked up to my favorite headphones, the custom painted Sennheiser HD800Ss. And what you're hearing right now is straight from the wireless mod mic. Just my subscribers, you guys can get 15% off at checkout if you visit antlineaudio.com/TS21 or click the link down below and use the code TS21 at checkout. Kicking off the episode is Daniel, a tattoo artist from Canada that used to be a console gamer. He stated that his friends encouraged him to switch from console gaming to PC gaming and that my channel inspired him to build his very first PC and setup. Damn, talk about a transition. His very first setup, and he's already rocking an epic setup. Looks like he built it on the IKEA mom desk with dual 27-inch monitors from Asus. The main display is a 4K 144Hz panel, while the secondary is a 1440p 170Hz panel, and then we have a 50-inch Samsung TV up top as an overhead. Daniel uses the setup for gaming and work, so I'm gonna guess that he games on the 1440p 170Hz panel and he uses the 4K monitor for work. At least that's what I would do. I gotta admire this man's dedication to the color scheme. He carefully picked out all of his gear to stay consistent with the white and black theme he was going for. We got the all-white G915 TKL keyboard paired with the G Pro wireless mouse. However, he does have a spare Ducky 1.2 Mini in white that he uses sometimes. For audio, he's got a set of Creative Pebble speakers in white and a few headsets, the Logitech G933 Artemis as the main and the SteelSeries Arctis 7 wireless as a backup. I love the pegboards that he added on the side of the wall. It adds a ton of function and space for storage while also aesthetically contributing to the setup's theme. Even his monitor mount and cable clips are in white. I love it. I got a feeling Daniel binge watched a ton of Setup Wars because it certainly feels like he knows what he's doing. Cables seem to be managed just fine using a bunch of cable sleeves and raceways while also utilizing the rack underneath the mom desk to store the power strip. I just noticed even his mini fridge and trash bin is in white. I'm definitely impressed at his dedication. The PC powering the entire setup, which is also his very first custom PC, is equipped with the Ryzen 9 3900X and the ROG Strix 2080 Ti. I'm loving the RGB cable extensions and the custom LCD display in the back. Something tells me you had help because there's no way a console gamer can switch over to a PC gaming setup with a sick custom system like that so easily. Maybe I'm just underestimating what Setup Wars can really do. And it's not just the setup, the rest of your room is also nicely decorated and furnished with some greenery and posters to add a bit of personality, finishing off with a giant shelf holding up a bunch of Gundam models. It's crazy to think that a console gamer is capable of such a transformation. I'm impressed. Well done on your very first gaming setup and welcome to the PC Master Race. Up next is Dennon from Chicago, Illinois with another awesome setup transformation. So there's a bit of a story for Dennon's setup. He has a basement where he planned on separating it into a recreational area, an extra bedroom, and a gaming/work studio. But unfortunately, due to financial uncertainty caused by COVID, he decided to postpone the project. It then became apparent during the pandemic that working from home was going to become a commonplace. So he decided to convert the corner of his basement into a studio where he can get some peace and quiet. He started off by covering the adjacent walls with acoustic panels and added thin commercial-style carpet tiles on the floor. And finally, hanging sound dampening, zero light pass-through partition curtains to isolate the space from the rest of the basement. The result is this epic, cozy corner studio that he built for gaming, streaming, watching movies, and getting some work done as well. We got the PC set up on one side and an entertainment area on the other, where he's able to kick back, game on his console, or watch some movies on his 49-inch LG TV. For his PC setup, he's rocking dual 27-inch monitors that are separately mounted on the gaming desk. And I just gotta stop for a second and mention the clever way of splitting both of Goku's Ultra Instinct forms. I think this is a very clever way of using that wallpaper. For peripherals, he's rocking the Razer Synosa Chroma keyboard with the Basilisk V2 mouse. And for audio, this guy is stacked. He's using the Shure Aonic 50 headphones for pretty much everything, with the Plantronic Rig 500s as backup, and then we got a set of Paradigm speakers that's hooked up to his receiver. He's got everything hooked up to his Creston touch panel so he can control everything from one place, like literally everything. He can switch inputs from his devices, change the lighting from the RGB strips or lamps. He can also control the cameras, and he even has macros set up for his streaming, along with quick controls for all of his audio sources. That is insane. Cable management is practically flawless. He did such an awesome job on keeping things contained underneath the desk with some Velcro straps and double-sided tape. But let's take a look at his interesting PC. This is the first time I'm seeing a half-inverted case like this, where the GPU is mounted vertically and the back of the motherboard is accessed from the top of the case. Very interesting design, but it does give you an easier way of accessing the back of the motherboard. It's crazy that he's able to do all of this in such a tiny corner of his basement. Think of what he can potentially do if he used up the rest of the space in his basement. Even though the overall value of the studio is well over $20,000, he was able to get away with spending no more than $5,000 for everything. Mostly from secondhand market and from salvage parts that he bought and repaired over the past several years. Such an awesome and inspiring setup. Thank you, Denman, for sharing this with us. This next setup from Marijan is something else. He's a part-time Java application developer and a YouTuber from Germany that took him 7 months to create this beautiful piece of art in the corner of his living room. Extra points for these amazing pictures, and I'm digging your style, by the way. You got a pretty sweet crib. So the first thing that caught my attention was the massive wall of black acoustic panels. The first thing I remembered actually was EPSI's setup from episode 141. However, the major difference here is that EPSI custom made his out of wood, whereas Marijan purchased them. And these aren't cheap either. They'll run you about $150 a pop, unless you buy more than one, and the price drops by only $10 each. Anyways, back to the setup. So Marijan is rocking triple 27-inch monitors that he mounted to the IKEA KARLBY countertop that's being supported by a motorized base. So he can basically lift the desk to any pre-programmed height, which he uses often with his MIDI keyboard. He kept the surface fairly clean with only the essentials. He also went wireless with the Logitech MX Keys keyboard and the MX Master mouse, which are complemented nicely with the anti-slip table coasters. Marijan also likes to stream on his spare time, and he's got a pretty sweet streaming setup as well. We got a couple of key lights, an Elgato Stream Deck, the Rode NT microphone, and two Sony a5100s for streaming and recording video in 2 different angles. Actually, there's even a third angle in the back from the Logitech webcam. This is pretty awesome. I love the speaker placements. He was smart enough to pull the desk forward slightly to make room for the speaker stands in the back. Such great use of space, which sadly isn't something I see enough of on the show. One of the things I love about this setup is the different themes that he created by integrating the Philips Hue lights with the app on his smartphone. He can easily switch between them with a press of a button. As expected, cables are perfectly managed using a few Signum racks, cable clips, and even Velcro straps to route the wires beautifully across all of his devices. I couldn't be more proud. And finally, the PC powering this battle station is a custom built by MeefCon. It's packing the 9900K, 32 gigs of RAM, and the RTX 2080. You know, it's really easy to toss a bunch of gear together and build a setup, but to build a setup that has synergy takes a bit more of an effort. I like how Marijan has easy access to all of his gear, the effortless flow between each theme he has created, and how the gear adapts to be utilized in that specific setup is very impressive. It definitely requires knowledge and patience to plan all of it out, and I feel like Marijan executed every single aspect of this setup perfectly. Not only does everything have its very own purpose, but this setup is just aesthetically satisfying to look at. You have to look at all the pictures to really appreciate the craftsmanship and attention to detail that went into this setup. Such a phenomenal job on this masterpiece, and it is with great pleasure to award Marijan the 35th seal of approval. Congratulations, dude. If you're watching the video, toss an email to setupwarsprizes@gmail.com to claim your plaque. Excellent work, my dude. I'm actually in love with this setup. It's also really crazy to see the setup's evolution from the very beginning. You have made some really consistent upgrades over time, and I feel like the best setups on the show always start with the most humble beginnings. This next setup definitely looks more of a battle station than anything. There's a lot going on here, and even I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at. So Steve is an Amazon delivery driver, and this is the setup he uses for gaming, streaming, photo, and video editing. He's rocking a 49-inch Super Ultra Wide, which is both his main monitor and an overhead at the same time. He does have a few other displays as well for multitasking, like a 24-inch Samsung monitor and a portable 15-inch 1080p monitor. Looks like you can watch 4 of my videos at the same time. Talk about multitasking, damn. Steve definitely needs more space for an epic setup like this, and I feel like the desk itself is the inhibiting factor here. I can't help but feel like he attempted to create solutions for the gear he didn't quite have the space for, like adding wall shelves for his speakers, and as a result, it just looks like a Frankenstein setup with no organization and synergy at all. This isn't to say that it doesn't have function. It definitely seems like Steve is making good use of that compact setup by having everything within reach. But from a comfort standpoint, I think having the ultra-wide monitor up that high can cause neck strain. How did you even mount that massive thing anyways? Did you mount it against the wall? I can see that you drilled a hole in the desk to pass the keyboard cable, and you did put an effort in the rest of the cable management underneath the desk, so I can appreciate that. Also, bonus points for putting your PC on some casters. It looks like he's using a Ryzen 5 3600 with an RTX 2080 Super. I mean, what can I say? You definitely got the gear, my dude. You just need a better desk to take advantage of your awesome high-end gear and some planning as well. I have seen some setups in tighter spaces than this that have perfect execution. Thank you for entering. Last but not least, we have Noah from California and his awesome cozy gaming room. The setup's purpose is gaming, music production, and weebing out. He actually has 2 setups. One is a desktop PC and the other is a laptop powered one, which is used mostly for on-the-go gaming and music production, or when his friends come over for co-op gaming, while the main setup is the daily driver. I am loving those hexagon acoustic panels he added on the wall. These are starting to become quite popular in setups, especially considering they provide both function and form. They will not only help soundproof your setup or studio, but they look aesthetically pleasing as well. If you guys are planning on adding a bit of spice to your setup, check these out for yourself. They come in practically every color option available, so you're bound to find one that matches your setup. So the main setup is rocking triple displays, a 27-inch 1440p as the main monitor with 2 additional monitors as secondaries. For peripherals, he's using the Pro 2 keyboard with the HyperX pudding keycaps and the Corsair M65 mouse. He doesn't have any extra space for speakers, so he did the smart thing and placed them on floor stands. However, he does have a pair of M40Xs as well hanging underneath the desk. I can see lots of spiral sleeves that were used to hide the cables, and bonus points on mounting the audio interface underneath the desk. It's not the cleanest job I've seen, but I have nothing really to complain about. The PC does look pretty sweet though. Looks like you went with intake on the top and exhaust on the sides for some reason. Probably to show off those sweet Corsair fans, but still a sick build nonetheless. Also, great job putting your PC on a small side table to lift it up from the carpet. The second setup is mostly for on-the-go gaming and co-op gameplay when his friends come over, which I'm hoping is not too often because we are currently on lockdown. It's being powered by an MSI GS65 Stealth laptop that's plugged into a 24-inch 144Hz monitor from Asus and the Corsair K70 RGB rapid fire keyboard and Scimitar Pro mouse. His second setup is actually good enough to be featured on the laptop edition of Setup Wars. It's even packing some nice speakers. He's got a pair of those KRK Rocket 5s and some headphones tucked away in the corner. The setup has also made some really nice upgrades over time. It's always awesome looking at the setup's evolution to see how much progress it has made from the very beginning. Such a sick gaming setup, Noah. Thank you for entering. And that wraps up today's episode. As always, make sure to comment down below on which of these epic setups was your favorite. And before you head out, consider dropping a like, as it does help out the channel a ton, only if you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you guys are new here somehow, consider subscribing because I host Setup Wars every single Monday. I love you beautiful faces as always, and I'll see you very soon in the next one.